Hello.
Then, now,
Countdown to the queens.
Episode number 500.
forever.
Looks like hell froze over.
Without any more further ado,
Together.
let's jump straight into the show. Hello, welcome to episode number, I think it's 162 of the TEW IX Challenge Run. We're here for ECW for June the 3rd, 2025. It's the first show following Heatwave, and ECW is on its road to Bad Blood. At the Heatwave, we saw a couple of things. We got a new $1 Million champion, which, as I say that, I don't know if I've changed the thingy at the bottom of the screen to reflect that. But Naomi is the $1 Million champion. Florence still the ECW Women's Champion. Jacob Fatu is still the ECW World Champion. The White Seven still the Tag Team Champions. Kylan Rodgers betrayed Brad Sawyer after that match. Kevin Owens, the new Hardcore, and I guess technically still Television Champion. But yes, we now continue ECW's build to Bad Blood. We have only 3 weeks, I think, to go before that pay-per-view. So any more further ado, let's jump straight into the show. We start with Florence coming to the ring. If she comes to the ring, and she's showing the effects of the Last Woman Standing match. Got a 99 rating, that match. So, yeah. Shout out Ruby and Florence for that one. But she does come to the ring. She obviously, I imagine she's got like a bump on her head, like with a plaster on it, showing a physical wound from the match. She comes to me and goes, "Oh boy, what's going on tonight, ladies and gentlemen?" Now, I'm gonna be a little bit honest with you. For the first time in a long time, there were parts on Saturday night where I thought I didn't have what it takes. Now, me and Ruby have gone back and forth over the past few months. I don't like Ruby. Ruby doesn't like me. But one thing I will never take away from Ruby is how tough she is. And I knew that I could beat Ruby for 3 seconds. But when you've got a Last Woman Standing match, you're in there with one of the most unhinged bitches you've ever met. There are times where you feel like, do I have what it takes to keep this woman down for 10? And in the end, I did. Now, look at this. She gets to the camera, she shows her bump on her forehead off to the camera. She goes, "Any woman that could do that to me deserves at least a modicum of respect. And for now, things between you and I may well be over, but Ruby, I don't like you, I probably will never like you, but I'm feeling the effects of Saturday night tonight. However, I'm glad, more than ever, to still be standing here, your ECW Women's Champion, because quite frankly, tonight is the start of a very exciting time of the ECW Women's Division. Now, when I was on this brand last year, I'll admit, there were times where I feel like Heyman or Russo or whoever was running things around here, they didn't really keep the women's division as I was hoping it would be. I was proud to lead the division, but the competition, it wasn't there. I beat everybody they put in front of me. Until, obviously, Ruby had the cheek to beat me. But Ava, she has this women's division's best interests at heart. And you've seen it. Rhea Ripley. And now, after Saturday night, I've got to look over my shoulder for 2 more women who are ready to, jump on me and maul me and take my championship. And that's Asuka and Stephanie Vaquer. Now I appreciate your excitement to be a part of the greatest women's division here in WWE, ladies, but let's make one thing perfectly clear. This is my championship. I defended it at Heatwave. And I was standing in, taking in my victory when you both decided to come out and get in my face. Now I'll let it slide because of my respect for you both. But don't forget who runs this place, okay? So now, with Ruby finally in my past, the question emerges as to who's my future? Who's ECW's future? And as I said, there's a hell of a lot. It goes beyond just those two women. You know, there's a whole roster back there of hungry women wanting this championship. And it's all about who believes they have the right to step up and what they're gonna do about it. Tatum Paxley interrupts. And she sort of comes to the ring. She's got Shotzi and Hams by her side. And she sort of gets in the ring. She sort of stares down Florence, you know, gets up to her, gets in her face. Like, starts tapping on the championship. And just starts laughing. She goes, so I watched Heatwave, you know, and I saw that, you know, Asuka and Stephanie and all these other girls think they're going to come in and take the championship opportunity from you next. And there's a lot of women around here, you know, a lot of great new people to play with, but you mentioned Rhea. Now, Rhea and I, we used to be very, very close until Rhea stabbed me in the back and betrayed me and made me feel worthless, but it's okay, because if she didn't do that, I would never have been able to help Hams and Shotzi, who were also feeling as low as I was. And now, for the first time in a long, long time, none of us feel worthless. We all feel on top of the world. And I realized something. It's not Rhea that I miss. It's people cheering for me and respecting me and rooting for me to succeed and feeling like I belong here. And if Mommy, Rhea, gone, I still have a lot of pent-up pain. We still have a lot of pent-up pain. She sort of like gets closer to Florence as she starts talking. She goes, and if Rhea's not going to be around to take it, we'll have to give it to someone else. And maybe take from them what needs to be taken for us to feel alive. And Florence almost looks at her all weird. She goes, okay, I don't know what you're talking about here, but it sounds to me like you want to fight. And congratulations, Tatum Paxley. At Heatwave, you defeated Rhea Ripley. That's the biggest win of your career, and you've now got these two by your side who you claim you're pulling to out of the darkness and into the light with whatever weird little ritual you've got going on here. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to go to Ava. And I am going to get a 6-woman tag team match tonight in the main event of ECW. You and your two new best friends against me and my new friends. See ya tonight. So there's our main event, 6-woman tag team match. Tatum, Hams, and Shotzi against Florence, Asuka, and Stephanie. Bang. And then get an interview with the Labyrinth. And Kelly says, last week, the Labyrinth, you made a mark here on ECW. You picked up the tag team victory over the Messiah and his apostle, Apollo Crews, you know, just days before Moose was ready to have his match at Heatwave with Sheamus, but More importantly, that's a big statement victory for you here on ECW, because it is. You know, this whole time we were worried about the wrong thing, Kelly. You know, Sheamus and that cross he has, we thought that was our holy grail. We thought that was the treasure to hunt because the Messiah made it feel so valuable because he felt so disrespected by it. But when you're a wrestler around here, you know, let's be real here, we may be treasure hunters, we may go off and our own adventure, but there's one thing you want, and that's championship glory. The real treasure is those ECW Tag Team Championships, and they're currently held by those Wyatt 7. And quite frankly, I'm not scared of them. Are you scared of them? And Drake's like, I'm not scared of them. We've faced worse than that before. So tonight we're going to keep our momentum rolling, Kelly, and then we're going to get a shot at the Tag Team Championships, and we're going to win them. And finally, our quest for gold will be finished. 71, just a short little match, get Kylan Rodgers a win on ECW. His first match as a singles competitor, he defeats Joe Gacy, who is, again, he's in this role where he just has good matches and loses. I do have a spot for him that I want him in eventually, but for now, he's jobbing. It's like Tate and Paxley Core, where the reason she kept losing was to eventually build to where she is now. But yeah, Kylan Rodgers picks up the win, 11 minutes 36, 65 for Kylan, 64 for Joe. After the match, we do give Kylan a mic, and he goes, "Do I even have to explain myself? I mean, I can, but I think it's pretty self-apparent why what I did at Heatwave was what I did, and it's got nothing to do with the Wyatts. They didn't get into my brain and convince me and poison me to betray Brad, because this was a long time coming. You see, I never even wanted to be here. Brad is the one who moved us to ECW, but it's fine, I'm going to make this show my own. Brad is the one who wanted to join Jericho and the Learning Tree. Brad is the one who did this, he did that, he did this, he did that. And sure, he may have trained me, he may have helped me get my foot in the door here, but let's be real, he was an anchor. Okay? Nobody leaves a show talking about Brad Sawyer. Nobody watches Aussie Open and thinks about Brad Sawyer. He's just the guy who sits there and stands on the apron while Kylan Rodgers does his thing. And now he can sit back there and watch as Kylan Rodgers begins his ascent. Because this is not about the destruction of Aussie Open, because give it a few years' time, nobody will even remember Aussie Open. This was the birth of something greater than Aussie Open and Brad Sawyer will ever be. This was the birth of your new hero, your new favorite wrestler, your next megastar here in WWE, your next future world champion, the proto-star, Kylan Rodgers. Then cut backstage, Otis is, he's a little bit sad, and Shane Reynolds has bought him a couple of sandwiches to cheer him up. He goes, "Hey buddy, I thought you would need this, okay? You did better, hey, when you renounced for this tournament, this Sabu Cup, everybody thought you were going to get bounced first round. Otis doesn't belong on ECW. Otis isn't hardcore. But you proved them wrong. You proved you're more than just a lovable face. You're a tough guy. You can get shit done. And Kevin Owens, he had to cheat to beat you, okay?" And Otis just goes, eh. And he opens the sandwiches up and starts eating them. And then Sean Spears walks past and goes, "Well, look at this. Who would have expected anything else? Otis, the fat loser that he is, wallowing in defeat after what was supposed to be the renaissance of his career, him proving himself as the everyman here on ECW, but nobody could believe him, and he let everybody down because now Kevin Owens has 2 championships around here, and it's all his fault. I know it sort of snaps. He, like, smashes the sandwich in his hand, like, squeezes it, like, mustard and shit flies everywhere, probably gets in Shane Reynolds' face. And he goes, "Listen here, tough guy. I beat your boy to get to the final. I didn't see him with the chance to wrestle Kevin Owens, huh? Maybe you should teach him more about winning than getting in my face." And Spears just laughs. He goes, "Oh, is that okay? Well, how about we'll see you in tag team action here tonight?" And Owens goes, "I don't have a tag team partner." And then he just points at Shane Reynolds and goes, "What about that guy?" And he goes, "Oh, we're not really a team." And Owens goes, "We'll see you out there." And then Sean Spears leaves with Jake something. And Shane goes, "Well, I wasn't ready for a fight tonight, but sure. Come on, let's go." So yeah, Shane Reynolds and Otis against Sean Spears and Jake something later on tonight. 74 rated tag. Holy shit! This has got fucking OTM in it. What? What? Okay. And the Labyrinth just that goated? Sure. They do pick up the win though. Sacred Stones. Nathan Kelly pins Bronco Nima in 9:13. 62 for Drake Chambers, 82 for Nathan Kelly, 52 for Lucian Price, 48 for Bronco Nima. There another victory for the Labyrinth here on ECW. Things are looking up for our resident Uncharted duo, let's call them. But after the match, they're celebrating when the Wyatt 6 thing flashed on screen and they get a promo. And Uncle Howdy sat in the middle. He's just staring at the floor. And he goes, "I see now why they call you the Samoan werewolf. Congratulations, Jacob. I'm a man of my word. You are ECW champion and I'm not. Cherish it. Hold it close. Because you never know when the next is just around the corner. But as for us, we still have our piece of the puzzle." And he brings the tag team championships over, just holds them. He goes, "These tag team championships prove that our family is worth more. Because Jacob, you had to go alone. We stay together. Nathan, Drake, congratulations. You may not be family, but you are bonded by your unity. You are bonded by your desire to achieve greatness, to win greatness. Let's see if you can get it done. When the tough gets going, when greatness hunts you out, will you stand or will you fall?" We then cut backstage. We see Naomi's locker room. Naomi busts out of her locker room. $1 million championship round her shoulder. She's like kicks the door down. She's so happy. And she's like, come on, we're out there next. And Shantae's like behind her. She's carrying a shitload of bags with balloons and shit in. And, and just stuff. She goes, my hands are a bit full, so you might have to wait for me, or, maybe take some. She goes, "No, I can't. It's fine. We've got as long as we want. I hear there's an ad break coming up, we've got a couple of minutes. Come on, let's go." And Naomi just walks over in front of Shantae, and we just get the camera on her. She sort of just huffs and slowly hauls bags and boxes and shit through the hallway by herself. Then cut to the ring, and well, I imagine it's not fully set up as we cut back. Shantae's still in there, half setting up balloons and shit for Naomi, and Naomi comes out. She goes, "Hello, supposed to be ready by now?" She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to do all of this and all this." He goes, "Enough, okay? This ain't about you. None of this is really that important." She pops all the balloons, and Shantae just sort of throws her arms up in the air and goes, "Well, what the fuck was the point?" She goes, "Anyway, stop looking at that and look at me. I told y'all to proceed with Caution. You all heard me, right? You heard me, didn't you, Shantae? Loud and clear. Well, it seems Miss Kathy Cool didn't hear me. 'Cause she didn't do that at Heatwave. She came out there looking like a fool. But it's fine. 'Cause I beat her ass and took my championship. You didn't do it. Sasha Banks, she couldn't do it. None of these other women who stepped up, they couldn't do it. I did it. Because these next gen girls, they're all hype. You saw last night on Heat. They're all falling apart already. Kathy loses one match and they all fall apart because their leader's no longer champion. Well, cry about it. 'Cause this championship ain't ever leaving my shoulder. 'Cause I'm Naomi. This is my division. And everybody back there from the top to the bottom better proceed with... And Kathy interrupts. She goes, yeah, caution, caution. We know it. We heard it all before. What I want to address here is the everything other than you holding the championship, which will, of course, I'll have a rematch at some point and I'll win that championship back. But you're going to stand out here and think you won? And she sort of just points at the belt and like, yeah, bitch. She went, let's rewind for a second, okay? Because when Next Gen first came to WWE, we tried to take over, you know. Nexus stuff is going down on Raw right now, and I see now that that's not the way to go about things, because you make a hell of a lot more enemies than you do friends. But at WrestleMania, myself and Shantae were to have a regular match for the championship, and you stepped in because Shantae conveniently got injured and hurt, and she's still feeling the effects of that to this day, which really puts to question how badly she got hurt and who did it. But ever since then, Naomi, everybody notices you've changed up. She goes, yeah, damn right I did. The old Naomi, she ain't never won this championship. Now I've got it. She went, but you took advantage of your own friend's injury at Heatwave. You know, Shantae, you tried to get her involved on your behalf, and you know, I accidentally hit her, which I'm sorry about, by the way, but it seems everywhere that she goes, trouble follows, and it's not her fault, it's all yours. Because, man, if you don't get out of my face, this is my championship celebration, why are you even out here? Just, I'm trying to, you know, get through to not you, but you. She points at Shantae, and Shantae sort of just looks at her like, huh? She goes, you see this all right? You see everything around here that I see? How you're being treated, how you're being disrespected. You know, I had a theory that I've been sitting on, and I think it's time Shantae and the whole world hear it right here and now. Naomi was very quick to point, that's why Nene's out here, she was very quick to point the fingers at Nene for WrestleMania for what happened to Shantae. Very quick to point the fingers. But who benefited the most from WrestleMania? Well, me, because I retained the championship against a woman I have already beaten before. But who else? Certainly wasn't Shantae. Wasn't really Nene or any of the other Next Gen girls. It was Naomi. And come to think that we only really have Naomi's word on Nene attacking Shantae because nobody else was around to see it. And apparently Naomi just saw Nene walking off and she didn't actually see the attack, which I think is very convenient. Just get to the point. Just, you know what the point is, Naomi. I don't think Nene attacked Shantae at WrestleMania. I think you did it. I attacked my best friend, Shantae. You're saying I did that. Okay, let me tell you a lesson here, bitch. just because things are falling apart around you, you ain't got your championship, your girls lost last night, and you can't seem to, get this championship back ever again because I'm the champion now and you ain't ever getting it. You don't hurl in accusations at women more successful than you, bitch. Things around you, they fall apart. Things around me, they rise up. Now, Shantae, she's never going to listen to you because we're best friends, right? She wants to go over and have her career go to the shit. She'll go speak to you. She's literally falling apart because of you. And she just turns to Shantae, and Shantae sort of just shrugs. And Yumi goes, "You're hearing this, right?" She goes, "So, what you gonna do about it, huh? You're gonna stand there like a goody two-shoes? Where's that got you, huh? That got you bumped off WrestleMania. Being like me got me a championship. So surely you want to be like me, huh?" And Kathy just sort of just gestures around like, "Yep, see? Exhibit A." She goes, "In fact, get a referee out here right now. We're gonna have a match right now. You against Shantae." And Shantae looks sort of like, I hurt myself at Heatwave and I'm not in gear. She went, "Well, good job this ain't gonna go along because you're gonna whoop this bitch's ass right here, right now." 63. I knew they had the chemistry issues, but, storyline stuff had to happen. During the match, Shantae, she's obviously selling her. I don't think I've ever specified what her exact injury is, but, I imagine she's all kinds of fucked up. Maybe shoulder and knee and, everything. But she's been through hell recently. And, eventually, as Kathy's wearing her down, Shantae does start, making the come up. She, hits a couple of clotheslines. She pounces Kathy, and, she's getting all fired up. And then, as she starts to come to, we see her, slowly, start to slow down, and she collapses in the middle of the ring. And the referee's, obviously checks on her. Kathy's in the corner getting to her feet, and she sort of looks across, looking very concerned about what's happened. Because, obviously, it's just a culmination of built-up injuries and abuse that has got to her. It wasn't anything Kathy did. And they called the match off, and the match is stopped, and Kathy is rewarded the victory. 60 for Kathy, 55 for Shantae. And yeah, the doctors obviously get into the ring, they check on Shantae. Kathy is down there as well, squatting down next to her, helping her out. And Naomi jumps Kathy cool from behind as they're loading Shantae onto the stretcher and starts beating her up. And so with that split-legged moonsault, and stands over her with the championship as they're carting Shantae away on a stretcher. She's shouting at her, "That's it, huh? Gonna injure my best friend, huh? Bitch! How dare you!" I shouldn't laugh. It's not funny. Shantae is in distress, If that's never funny. And then get a quick promo from the Messiah. And he's laughing to himself. And he goes, "The heat wave has come. And the heat wave has gone. Just like the Messiah ordered the flood, he ordered the heat wave to Sheamus. Because you look at Sheamus, a man that looks like that can't stand the heat. And that's why I brought the heat to him. Can I get an amen?" And Apollo's like, "Amen, Messiah." He goes, "But this is far from over, Sheamus. Because unfortunately for you, you've got another 3 of these beatings coming. Now, you said this is going to be 7 deadly sins. I say that's wrong, because I'm only going to need 4. And next week, your day of reckoning comes around once again, and the Messiah will show the world what it means to be free of sin. Apollo, send the message. The Messiah comes around once more." And he goes, "Amen, Messiah." So yeah, Sheamus and Moose again next week on ECW. We then cut back to, Shantae getting stretchered through the halls into an ambulance. Ava's with her. She goes, give me an update. The ambulance drives off. She turns around and Zoe Stark's there. She goes, I was wondering what you were going to do about Ivy Nile. She goes, I'm a little bit stressed. Got more important things to worry about than your stuff right now, Zoe, okay? What's the matter? She goes, you saw Heatwave. Why'd she walk out on me? And she's supposed to be on my side. She's supposed to be of the belief that this division needs fixing. And then she slimes me out like that. And Ava goes, look, I'm sorry that happened to you, but do not see round. I'm trying my hardest to make this division as stacked as it can be. One of my wrestlers has just gone to the hospital. One of my champions is going insane. I've got to do this thing with Kevin Owens. So I don't really have enough time, Sort it out yourself. What you had that little, petition thing where other girls were signing it. She goes, I do. She goes, yeah, so Zoe's not the only person, Ivy's not the only person you need, you got other names on there, Go talk to some of them. She just walks off, and Zoe just sort of looks down, and she's like, huh. Yeah, I could do that. 67-way tag match. Otis fractured his cheekbone, but, again, that doesn't sound like something that will keep him out of action. If anything, it'll make him more of a demon to work through it. But Shawn Spears and Jake Something do pick up the win. Jake Something obviously pinning Shane Reynolds. 78 for Otis, 56 for Shane, 70 for Jake Something, 63 for Shawn Spears. I don't think Shawn Spears has wrestled yet, so we're just going to see how he is. Obviously, he's not going to wrestle every week because he's fucking Shawn Spears. So, and booking Shawn Spears matches isn't very exciting, but sure, he can stick around and be a manager for Jake Something on most weeks. But yeah, Jake getting a win over Shane Reynolds. Otis's defeat. I guess this one's not really his fault, but yeah. He did accept this tag match, so. We then cut back to Austin Theory. He's crashing out. And he goes, where the hell is Joe? He's talking like random guys backstage. He goes, where the hell is Joe Hendry? He goes, I haven't seen him. Have you tried saying his name? He goes, yes, Joe Hendry, Joe Hendry, Joe Hendry, Joe Hendry. He just switches around, like throws his hands up there and goes, he's scared of me. The one time someone says this man's name, he don't appear. Because he's scared of me. He knows he got lucky at Heatwave, and he knows I'm going to beat his ass. And then he walks up to Hook and Shabbat and he goes, you seen Joe Hendry? And Hook just sits there and just stares at him, shakes his head and walks off. And he turns to Shabbat and he goes, you seen Joe Hendry? And Shabbat's phone is like,
Theory's in the cradle with a silver spoon.
And then he walks up as well. And he goes, you gotta be kidding me, man. Joe Hendry, Joe Hendry, Joe Hendry. And then like a bunch of people just sort of stare at Theory like he's losing his mind. But, yeah. It seems saying his name has not worked tonight. Then cut to the ring. Ava's in the ring. She goes, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome my guest, the new hardcore champion, Kevin Owens. And he comes to the ring, he's got the belt over his shoulder, he goes, wow, Ava, you could have been a little bit more excited. Okay, let me try it again, okay? Here's what, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your first ever reigning, defending WWE Hardcore and still the People's Champion and the ECW Television Champion and Sabu Cup winner, Kevin Owens. Now, my people, I didn't let you down. I heard all the cries. I heard what everybody was saying about you. They were saying that you were cheering for Otis. They were saying Otis was the people's favorite in this tournament. And I know my people better than that. You guys don't like Otis, you like Kevin Owens. So I delivered the goods for you all once again. Now I know you love me so much that you'd have hated to see me give up my television championship that I worked so hard to get, right? So I'm keeping it around. So, anybody who thinks that they've got what it takes to be hardcore enough to take my championship, come out here and let me know, because I'm dying to get back into work and show the people why I am the Kevin Owens experience. Out comes Pistolero. And Kevin just laughs and goes, "Look at you. I know why you're out here. This is about Rey Mysterio, right? Well, maybe you're finally starting to realize what I said was right, okay? I warned all you people months ago what Rey Mysterio was. He was a facade. He wears a mask because he's a liar. And after all these years, he had this reputation of being the nicest guy in WWE and being a hero to the children. But I'm the hero now. And he left you high and dry here on ECW to fend for yourself. And, you now come out here to apologize, okay? So I'll hear it. I'll hear the apology." And Pistolero goes, "Kevin, I'm sorry that you made the mistake of insulting a great Hall of Famer like Rey Mysterio. 'Cause now I have to kick your ass." And Kevin just laughs and goes, "Okay, buddy, okay. Like, I know you want to prove yourself to Rey and prove to Rey that he did the right thing by letting you stand here by yourself on your own 2 feet, but this is a big boy championship where the big boys play, okay? We don't have time for guys like you who want to play pretend champion. Guys like Otis who want to play pretend champion." And the Pistolero grabs him. He hits that 21 plex on Kevin Owens. You know, Kevin drops both his belts on the floor. He scurries outside the ring. He manages to pick up his TV title. Holds that near and dear. But Pistolero does grab hold of the hardcore title. And he looks at it. And he goes, "Hey, that's mine as well. Give that back." And then Pistolero does, eventually toss it at Kevin. But yeah, Pistolero looking like he's coming after the ECW Hardcore Championship. Next week, we have a couple of matches set for the show, but first, he wasn't here tonight, but next week we will see him back in the building. The ECW World Champion, the Samoan Werewolf Jacob Fatu, fresh off his victory over Uncle Howdy at Heatwave, returns to ECW next week, plus Zoe Stark, Ivy Nile. They're going to go one-on-one next week after Zoe felt betrayed after Ivy walked out on her at Heatwave. And Sin 2, Moose vs. Sheamus, the second match in their 7 Deadly Sins series. Moose got the victory at Heatwave. Let's see who picks up the victory next week. A1 rated main event. Yeah, I wasn't expecting this to do as good as it could have because of reasons I'll get into. But yes. It's a 6-woman tag. Tatum Paxley, Hams, and Shotzi, who are tentatively at least called the Outcasts, against Florence, Asuka, and Stephanie Vaquer, the 3 biggest babyface stars on ECW's women's division. And, it's a standard 6-woman tag team match. Stephanie, I imagine Asuka makes her way out, and then Stephanie after her. And, they seem to be working decently well as a unit for most of the match due to the babyface team. And, Florence is doing her best. And, she eventually tags Asuka in. Asuka runs wild. Her and Hams go at it. Then Asuka and Shotzi go at it. And Tatum comes in. Her and Asuka go at it. Tatum eventually does ground Asuka. And then Asuka mounts a comeback. She hits a couple of strikes. She drops Tatum Paxley. And then she goes over to the corner. Stephanie's got her hand out like she's going to go tag in. Like she wants to tag in. And Asuka just sort of stares at Stephanie and tags Florence in instead. And Florence gets in the ring, obviously, paying no mind to this. And she continues to go to work on Tatum. And Asuka's still in the ring, though. And she's just staring a hole through Stephanie. Stephanie's like, "What the fuck are you doing? What's the matter?" And then she missed Stephanie Vaquer in the face. Stephanie drops down on the outside. Obviously screaming in pain, or she got misses in the face. Asuka's laughing, doing her dance as she leaves the ring. And Stephanie's getting, a towel over her face. She's getting checked out by the doctors at ringside. Florence finally sees this. She gets distracted. It's like, what the fuck's going on? What happened here? Where's Asuka? And she turns around. Psycho trap. 1, 2, 3. And Tatum Paxley pins the ECW Women's Champion. 89 for Stephanie, 87 for Asuka, 89 for Florence, 75 for Shotzi, 76 for Ham, 73 for Tatum. And yes, who's next for Florence? We may have just had our answer because she's eating a pinfall here tonight at the hands of Tatum Paxley of all people. But Asuka Seems to have some sort of issue with Stephanie. Huh. A1 rated show. Sure, that's fine. I had to keep Florence strong during the main event because... It's not because of Tatum, it's because Shotzi and Hams aren't that super over, so she was moaning about losing to them. And, yeah. Bottom matters more is what you thought of the show. Do leave in the comments below. I'll see you next time for SmackDown. See you then.